Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this webinar on project management. And my name is Ashutosh, and I'll be a facilitator for the next 1 hour. Just wanted to make sure that all of you are able to hear me out and also see the presentation. Can you all please confirm that you can hear me and you can also see the presentation? Let's do a quick check on that before we move ahead. Yeah, kindly confirm if I'm audible and if you can actually also hear me. Okay, fine. So I'm assuming that yes, people are able to hear me out, and also you can see the screen. Okay, so fine. Let us start with our session. Let us start with the session, and this next 1 hour will be very, very exciting for all of you. You will try to understand what are the nuances of project management all about, how exactly the industry of project management is moving ahead, and what you can expect when you become the project manager, right? When you become a project management certified professional, what essentially are the things what you can expect, how you can expect your career to move ahead, and the elements related to project management, how you can apply in your day-to-day life. So on behalf of Cognitia, the world's leading talent transformation company, I invite you for this exciting 1 hour session. What is there? And apart from project management, these are the other areas where you can get yourself skilled, where you can get yourself trained into, be it machine learning, AI, microservices, RPA, robotic process automation, Internet of Things, big data analytics, DevOps, cloud computing, cybersecurity, professional development, and BI technology. Now, these are just some indicative numbers, indicative, I would say, areas what we offer training. If you need some any specialized content, or if you need some additional information, do basically connect on that, or connect with the team also. So that would basically help you to understand um, around other areas where you need a training, or where you exactly need any competency. Okay, so let us move ahead. And let us further understand this as we go along. And today, as I said, today's focus would be predominantly on project management, and what project management is all about, and the importance of project management. So that is what we'll be covering, or those are the elements we'll be covering as a part of today's session. What is there? So how many of you are new to the project management stream? You can just let me know quickly. How many of you are new to the project management stream, or basically, uh, I mean, for probably are trying to get it a foothold into the project management industry per se. Just want to check on that. Okay, I can see few of them are already experienced, few of them are new, which is there. Great, great to know that. Okay, so let us start with our journey. Let us start with our journey around project management and try to understand what project management is all about. So this program, or this session, what I'm going to talk about, will cover what essentially is project management all about, some very, very high level concepts. And it will also try to cover that if you're going to go for a PMP certification, what are the things which would be needed. Okay, so that is what I'll be covering as a part of this session. Okay, and yes, I mean, some general ground rules around it. But before that, let us now deep dive into what is project management all about, and the importance of project management. So as I said, this is predominantly going to cover about what is this PMP certification all about, and what are some of the terminologies related to PMP is what we will try to understand in this session. Okay, so what is PMP all about? So PMP is the full form of PMP is Project Management Professional, and it's one of the gold standards in project management. So wherever in the world you go, you will always hear that if I want to be a professional project manager, I need to be PMP certified, right? It is one of the most widely recognized industry certification from a project management perspective, and it comes from a body what is called as PMI. So PMI stands for basically Project Management Institute. Okay, that is the full form of PMI, and it's one of the leading organizations, as I said, in project management education. Then there's another word which you will hear quite often. That word is called as PMBOK. I'm sure many of you would have already heard about it. PMBOK stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. What is there? Okay, so we have PMP, which is the full form of which is Project Management Professional, one of the elite project management certification available worldwide. We have PMI, which is Project Management Institute, which is the world's leading project management organization. And you can see more information about this organization on the PMI website, which is www.pmi.org. And then we have PMBOK. Okay, we have PMBOK, which is Project Management Body of Knowledge. What is there? So what is Project Management Body of Knowledge? It is a guidebook. It is a guide which will predominantly talk about the literature around it. So all the literature or all the text around project management is basically captured in the PMBOK guide. What is there, right? The Project Management Body of Knowledge, 7th edition is what we have. So these are the elements, these are the pointers, or these are the elements what we need to understand, some of the fundamentals around it. Now, what is this PMP certification all about? As I said, it's a gold standard in project management. So it's one of the most widely recognized certification in project management, coming from a global body like a Project Management Institute. So that is what PMP is about. And one of the reasons why it has become so popular is that this entire body of knowledge has been created by practitioners like you and me. So it is coming from industry practitioners, it is coming from industry organizations where this entire knowledge base is coming from. Definitely, it brings about improvement in your the way you handle your projects, okay, the way you manage your projects. It improves the overall marketability, right? So tomorrow, if you're a PMP certified professional, it definitely adds value to your career. It improves marketability, and it overall increases the customer's confidence in your delivery ability. So tomorrow, if I'm a PMP certified professional, if I go in the market, customers will be confident about my delivery, right? So they will basically be very much confident about the delivery which I'm making. And essentially, they will make sure that, yes, between two project managers having the same set of experience, they will always like to have a project manager who's actually a PMP certified professional rather than a non-PMP certified professional. Because as I said, it is coming with it's a very rigorous exam. It is not an easy exam. It's a very, very rigorous exam. And it really tests you. It really it's like diamond, right? Diamond, when you cut, right? Initially, it's a coal, but when you cut it, when you polish it, what shines out is a diamond, what is there, right? So that is what is the importance of a PMP certification. It is one certification which is industry agnostic, which means it cuts across various industry verticals, domains, and global enterprises. And it's a global recognition. It's a global recognition of one's project management competency. So these are basically the reasons. These are basically the reasons the reasons why one should become a PMP certified professional, or what makes one a PMP certified a professional. What is there, right? So this is this something, or I would say some of the key salient features why one should become a PMP certified a professional. What is there? Okay, so this is the reason, or this is the fundamental reason why we have as a part of it. Okay, so now again, there are multiple reasons why you might be motivated to come for PMP certification, but what I have tried to list down are some of the important ones, some of the important ones, or some of the pertinent ones is what we have tried to list down here as a part of it. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, so what is the eligibility criteria for one to become a PMP certified professional? So there are multiple, there are multiple ways in which you can register. But if you look at it, the first and foremost thing is you should be a bachelor's degree holder, right? Any bachelor's degree holder should be fine. Okay, so you should be a bachelor's degree holder. um, uh, as a part of PMP certification, or to become to eligible for PMP certification, you need to possess 36 months of experience in leading projects. Okay, so minimum 3 years of experience in leading projects is what you need to possess. Okay, that's one more requirement. And the third one is 35 contact hours of training. What is there? So three important eligibility criteria, right? A bachelor's degree or a global equivalent, 36 months of experience in leading projects, and 36 months means equal to 3 years, and a 35-hour contact session of a PMP certification, right? So the program what we have, it will offer you the 36 months of 35 hours of project management education or training. So when you attend a comprehensive program, it will give you that third eligibility criteria. I'm sure all of us would be meeting the first eligibility criteria. The first eligibility criteria is about a bachelor's degree or a global equivalent. In case you do not have a bachelor's degree, that is also fine. If you are just having a diploma, in that case, the only thing which changes is the second clause, which is 60 months spent in leading projects, right? So you'll require to possess 60 months of experience in leading the projects. What is there? That is the criteria which changes. That's the only criteria which will change as a part of it. Okay, so I hope everyone is clear about the eligibility. Everyone is clear as to what the eligibility requirement would be, right? Any questions? Feel free to put it in the chat window. I'll be more than happy to address those questions which are there. But I hope everyone is clear with what exactly is the eligibility criteria for one to become a PMP certified professional. Okay, moving ahead, let us move ahead. Okay, now what about this exam? This exam is based on exam content outline. So there's something called as an exam content outline, which acts like a syllabus. This exam content outline is available on the PMI website. So if you go on the PMI website, www.pmi.org, you will see the examination content outline. You can download that document. It is available on the PMI website. And this exam content outline essentially talks about it is a structure. It is a structure in which this entire exam is conducted. For example, the first thing it will have is three domains. There are three domains which are there. Within those domains, there are around 35 tasks, okay, or activities which as a project manager you perform. And within that, you have 133 enablers which are there. Okay, so you don't have to worry about this thing right now, but I'm just basically trying to share with you what all is the content, what all basically is this content, what is there. Okay, so this is what we need to remember. Okay, so that's one thing which is there. And then basically, as I said, three domains are people domain, process domain, and business environment domain. Right. So people domain, the process domain, and business environment domain on which you will be asked questions. The questions are asked across all the three domains. There is no negative marking for this exam. It's a CBT based exam. It's a CBT based means computer based test which you have to give. And Pearson VUE is the official testing partner of PMI. So Pearson VUE, the authorized test center, is the one which is the official partner from PMI perspective, which basically conducts these tests which are there. Okay, there are some questions. What quantifies the 36 months? As a program manager, yes, it applies because program is above a project. So even if you're a program manager, that is fine. I am in operations. Can I also consider myself as leading projects? Yes, absolutely. But when you're describing the experience, so there's a PMP form filling exercise what you have to do. Okay, which we cover as a part of the 36 months exercise, 35-hour contact training. In that 35 contact hour training, we tell what exactly you should be writing from a operation support perspective, right? Ultimately, it has to reflect a project work. It has to reflect an activity related to operation, which is constituting a project per se. That is what you will have to document it there. Okay, so this is what you will have to do, or these are the elements what you need to consider from a PMP examination perspective, what we need to understand. As I said, the questions can come randomly across all the three domains, and there is no particular sequence in which these questions will be coming. Okay, so that's one thing which will be there. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, so some tips which I always tell, some tips which I always tell to people is that you should have a target in mind. You should be able to clear the exam in 45 days. That is a target what you should be having. Because I have seen lot of students who come to the who come for the course, and they don't really follow the studies after the course. And in that case, they come back again 6 months after that again for the training, right? So you should target it to clear the exam within 45 days, because if you don't clear it in 45 days, you will never clear. Okay, that's the internal target or an internal deadline, which I always tell basically the students, that you should have a target in mind of clearing this exam within 45 days is what you should be targeting. Okay, the minimum recommended study plan is that on a Monday to Friday, you should be studying at least 2 hours daily, and 4 hours on a Saturday to Saturday and Sunday. This has to be done for 45 days after the course gets over. I'm not talking about this during the course. During the course, obviously, you will be studying. There will be classes which will be there. But once the course gets over, this is a study plan what you should be having. Okay, so these are some of the tips, but I'll come. Okay, sorry, I think I got disconnected for a moment. For a moment, I got disconnected. So let me try to share it back again. Yeah, so I was talking about some of the tips which were there, and let us move ahead. So let us first understand what is this examination all about. This examination is about how well do you understand project. How well do you understand project, and basically, do you know that as a project manager, there are certain roles and responsibilities around the project management which are there? Okay, so it is very much important for you to understand what essentially is a project and the importance of project management. That is something which is very, very vital and important. Okay, so obviously, it starts with a fundamental definition of a project. And the fundamental definition of a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, a unique service, or a unique result. So there's a very powerful message in that statement. A temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, a unique service, or a unique result. Temporary doesn't mean short term. Temporary means that a project has got a definite start date and a definite end date. That is what the meaning of the word temporary is. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's a short-term engagement. It means that there's a definite start date and there's a definite end date. And basically, unique product, any project with a unique product. For example, Apple coming out with a new smartphone can be a project with a unique product, right? Or creating a new tablet PC. That can be an example of a project with a unique product. Improving the electricity supply of a town, that can be an example of a project with a unique service. There's some uniqueness which is coming out, right? I mean, I'm trying to basically make the service more reliable. So that can be an example of a unique service. An example of a project with a unique result can be, let us say, coming out with a painless a treatment for a disease like cancer, right? Or coming out with a kind of a unique thing, like, let's say, coming out with a medicine for COVID-19. It could be a syrup or it could be a tablet, right? Or the pills what are there, right? So basically that can be an example of a unique result what is there. So either it can be a unique product, it can be a unique service, or it can be a unique result what is there. So that is what we call it as an example of a project what is there. A temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, a unique service, or a unique result with a definite start date and a definite end date. When do we say that a project is completed? We say that a project is completed when its objectives have been met, or its objectives cannot be met due to XYZ reasons. There could be some multiple reasons why the objectives of the project could not be met, right? There could be various reasons because of that. right? So we say that in that situation, the project basically we are putting it on hold. We are either suspending it, or we are putting it on hold, or we are basically scrapping the project. But in a happy path scenario, a project end is met when either its objectives are met, but many times we see that project objectives cannot be met due to XYZ reasons. In that case, the project is put on hold or the project is suspended, right? So that is what we say. The some nuances or some elements related to project, what we need to remember or what we need to understand. Right. So this is a definition of a project, or this is what we say is the project definition all about, right? The basic definition of a project. And every project is basically impacted by constraints. What are constraints? Constraints are limitations which come in the way of a project. For example, budget can be a constraint, scope can be a constraint, quality can be a constraint, right? You're basically funding can be a constraint, or budget, as I said, right? Or basically skills. Availability of skills can be a constraint. So every project can have multiple constraints. At the same time, there is also something called as opposite of constraint. What is an enabler? So enabler is something which helps in project execution, which basically aids in project execution, whereas constraint is something which comes in the way of a project execution. What is there? So on one side we have a constraint, and on another side we have an enabler, which basically aids in project execution. And every project is progressively elaborated. What do we mean by progressive elaboration? Progressive elaboration means that things might not be clear in the beginning, but as we progress, as we move along, things become much more clearer. Things become much more clearer or clarified as we move along. So that is what is called as progressive elaboration, what is there, right? So that is the meaning of the word progressive elaboration, what we say, right? Initially, things are not clear, but as we move along, things become much more clearer. Things become much more, I would say, refined as we go along. And that is the definition of progressive elaboration, what we say, or that's the call of progressive elaboration, what we call it, right? So these are the fundamental nuances or a definition of a project, what we are seeing, right? Or what is the definition of a project, what we say. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, moving ahead. So as you can see, each one of us, I fundamentally believe that each one of us in this world is a project manager. We may not be designated as a project manager. It could be a leader of a political party who's trying to win election. Even that person is a project manager. It could be a person who's working in a totally different industry altogether, maybe nothing connected with engineering, right? For example, writing a book is an example of a project. So if I'm an author and I'm trying to create a book or a literature piece, that also comes in as a part of project management. Okay. Or basically planning a vacation for your family, or basically planning a birthday party for your kid. All these are examples of project as per the definition what I just talked about it. So let me ask a very simple question before we move ahead. What do you think are the top 4 or 5 reasons for a project to fail? What are the top 4 or 5 reasons to fail? A project fails. Any thoughts? Yeah, what could be the reasons? You can put it in the chat window. Reasons why projects fail, or what could be the reasons? Could be the budget, lack of planning. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So there's a very interesting study which was done, and I wanted to find out the top reasons for the project failure. Okay, lack of planning, no clear vision and mission. Okay, money lack itself. Okay, so I can see a lot of pointers coming in as a part of it. Great to know that. Material delays. So one of the fundamental reasons is poor planning and lack of clear goals. So there's no clarity on what this project is expected to deliver. There's poor planning, and there is no clarity on the goals what are needed, right? What goals are needed from a project a point of view, right? So this is one of the reasons why we have poor communication. Remember, as a project manager, you spend nearly 90% of your time in communication. And if you fail to do poor communication and stakeholder engagement, that is the second and the foremost reasons. And I have also listed down some bulleted points below it, but I'm not going into that, but we cover these as a part of the course, what is there. But obviously, the second important reason is communication. The communication is a problem, right? The communication is a challenge, or the communication is a problem, what we say. So poor planning and lack of clear goals is the first reason. The second reason could be poor communication and overall stakeholder engagement. The third one is scope creep and changing requirements. So we constantly see requirements changing. We constantly see that there's a scope creep and requirements are changing along it, right? So that is the third important reason, or that is the third reason why we see basically that there is a challenge. There's a challenge in basically the project meeting its objectives, right? Or the project failing to meet its objective as such. Okay. Then the next reason is poor or inadequate risk management. Remember, risk, one of the important elements of a project manager is to become a risk manager, right? He or she should be able to effectively handle the risk or effectively manage the risk. So that is the another reason, right? Inadequate risk management policies, inadequate risk management activities which are there, right? So that's another reason. That's another reason why this could be the reason, right? Or the why this could be coming up, right? Inadequate risk management activities which are there. Poor team dynamics and leadership. So one of the important roles of a project manager is to become a great leader, right? So he or she should demonstrate leadership skills. And many times we see those lacking or those missing. And there could also be resultant because of poor team dynamics. There could be conflicts in the team. There could be basically a lot of toxicity in the team environment, lot of negative elements coming in. So these could be the reasons. These could be another set of reasons as to why there could be, or this could be one of the fundamental reasons for a project failure, which could be there, right? Or one of the very famous reasons around it. And then, of course, lack of effective leadership and project governance, right? So there's a total disconnect and there's a total lack of governance, what we see, and lack of effective leadership as such. So this again could be a reason. This again could be a fundamental reason as to why a project could be failing, or why the project per se is having challenges as a part of it. So these are some of the fundamental reasons, or these are some of the causes why projects fail, or why basically the projects do not go on the path as we think so, right? Any guesses how many percentage of projects actually fail? Or how many projects, or let me ask it in a different way. How many projects actually succeed? Any guesses? If you were to find out worldwide, if you do a survey, there was a very interesting survey done, and basically they were trying to find out how many basically projects actually were successful. Any idea how many of them were successful? I'm asking successful, not the failure. How many of them were successful projects? Any number you can guess? Think about it. Okay, I'm just going through your numbers, which are there. Okay, so you'll be surprised with the numbers. You'll be surprised with the numbers. Only about 25 to 30% of the projects actually succeed. Only 25 to 30%, and this is from the famous Standish Group report. There's a report called Chaos Report. You can check it. It is available on the website. They say that only about one-third projects are actually successful, which basically, and I always say, projects fail not because of lack of clarity, lack of knowledge, etc. Projects fail because we do not have skilled project managers. That is the fundamental reasons why projects fail in the industry, right? So yes, only 1 in 3 projects actually are successful. 2 in 3 projects never get completed, or they miss deadlines, okay, or they are delayed as such. Okay, so 2 out of 3 projects which are there. Okay, so they are always delayed, they always miss deadlines, or they basically never complete on time. So those are the challenges, what we see from the project management perspective we need to understand. Okay, so this one thing we need to remember, one thing we need to understand, and some reasons why projects are initiated. It could be a regulatory project because there's a new law which is being passed. There could be social norms. COVID-19 were predominantly regulatory projects which were there, business transformation project which completely disrupt the industry, like what Amazon did to the retail industry, right? It completely disrupted it, right? I mean, no longer people now prefer to go to the store and basically walk across the corridors, right? Today I can order items online and they get delivered to me. So that is a business transformation. Or like what Tesla did, right? I mean, no one could imagine that I could actually go to space on my own privately. But Tesla has enabled it, or the driverless car, right? These are business transformation projects. They completely transform the industry. They completely challenge the status quo and transform the industry per se. Then projects due to stakeholders' request. Okay, stakeholders request means someone requesting a project, and basically, let's say one telecom company requests my organization to basically automate its billing system. So that comes in stakeholders request, what is there. So that is a part and parcel of your stakeholder request. And then bringing in efficiency in the product. The classic example of this being the lamps what we have today, right? 50, 70 years back, we had this incandescent bulb, which Mr. Edison invented, right? Thomas Alva Edison. Then we went into an era of CFL, compact fluorescent lamps. And today we have LED lamps, which are there, right? So it's a generational change. It's a transformation, what is there, or it's basically the product is still the same. There is no change in the product. But what we have done is we have enhanced the utility of the product, right? The utility of the product is now a better product, or a better version of itself is what's coming out as a part of it. So from an incandescent bulb to a CFL to a LED bulb is what this request is, or basically how this has entirely transformed itself, right? So this is how projects are initiated, or this is how we go ahead and we initiate the projects as a part of it, right? So regulatory or social norms, business transformation, stakeholder request, or service enhancement, or service improvements which are there. So these are the reasons. These are some of the reasons what we have as a part of this the I would say the motivational case, or why exactly projects have to be initiated in the first place. Okay, now one very important element we need to understand is that basically, even before I cover this, there's one more thing I wanted to cover. Even before I cover this, and there's one more slide, just a minute, and I'm just opening it up for you. Yeah, so the way this entire project management outlook has changed, it has undergone a very, very rapid change. Earlier, projects were seen more as output driven. They were more related to output. Today, we talk about outcome-based delivery from a project. What is the difference between output and outcome? Let me give a very interesting example. So let us say I decide to go for gym daily for 2 hours. Okay, and I start boasting about it on social media platforms. See, I'm on the gym, I'm on the trenches, I'm on the walker, I'm doing weights, and I put photographs everywhere on social media of me spending minimum 2 hours on the gym daily. Okay. At the end of 1 month, what I find is I have become more fatter. I have actually added more weight. Do you think the purpose of joining gym has been achieved by me? What do you think? Yes, no? Do you think basically this purpose has been achieved? So I am going for the gym daily 2 hours, and you can put it in the chat window, your response, yes or no. That is it. Can I say that I have been successful, that I have been going to the gym for 2 hours daily? I've been putting photographs on social media about me on the gym, and only to find that after a month or so, my weight has actually increased and I have become more obese. So basically, this is the problem with output driven. There is an output that daily I'm going to gym for 2 hours, but the outcome is not there. Outcome is if I become more healthier. If I become more healthier, then the outcome will be coming up, right? So basically, PMI has changed its philosophy. It no longer talks about output. It says projects will deliver outcomes. There has to be certain outcomes which have to come out of it, and it's a system for value delivery. At the end of the day, it's a system for value delivery which will come out, and it has moved away from the traditional knowledge based curriculum to a principle based curriculum, what is there. And the focus is more on the performance. The focus is more on the outcome and the performance what we need to understand. So it is predominantly, I would say, shifting gears. So they have actually shifted gears from an output driven methodology to an outcome driven methodology. What is there, right? So no longer the focus is on output, but it is more predominantly on the outcomes what is there, right? So that's the difference what is there. That's one of the fundamental difference of what we have as a part of it. Yeah, Praveen, I already said that my objective was to become healthier. Okay, so obviously I cannot add weight, right? I'm not a movie star who has to increase weight for a particular role. If that is yes, then the outcome would be clear, right? So if I'm a movie star and I've got a role for a historical figure and my director says that you actually have to increase the weight, then obviously then the outcome would be achieved. But I'm talking about a normal course where basically I want to become healthier. I want to reduce waste, what is there, right? Reduce weight, sorry. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, so the entire focus of PMP is now on value delivery. What is the business value which your project is going to deliver? So nowadays they talk about business value, that if at all an organization has initiated a project, there might be some strong, compelling reason for doing it. There might be some strong, compelling outcome or a reason for doing it. And that is what is coming through a business value. That is nothing but a business value, what we call it. So what is a business value? A business value is a combination of tangible elements and intangible elements together. So both these things coming together contribute or constitute what is a business value. So when I do a project or when I complete a project, the tangible elements which will come out is that the turnover of the company has increased, or the stock price of the company has gone up, or the equity or the real estate of the company has moved upwards. So that is basically the real estate value. That is the value which basically is coming out of it, right? I mean, the tangible element, something which is easier to quantify and easier to measure. We also have intangible elements. Intangible elements include brand equity, right? It includes goodwill. It includes social standing, public image, social value, trademarks. So those come in as a part of your intangible elements which are there, right? Those are the intangible elements what we need to understand, and they cannot be directly measured. Like for example, during COVID-19, you saw, right? Many organizations gave the option, or basically they allowed doctors and nurses to operate out of their company premises when the lockdown was declared. I mean, that is an intangible benefit they have done, right? I mean, this project is having a social goodwill. Many companies did that, right? They allowed basically, they also opened vaccination centers, right? That is what we saw, right? So that comes in as a part of your intangible element which is there, which is more related to brand equity, goodwill, social standing, public image, social value, trademark, etc. So those will be the intangible elements which will be coming up, right? So we have tangible elements and then we have intangible elements. Both these together constitute what is a business value or a business outcome what is there, right? So business value is basically going to be generated through your projects, programs, and portfolios, what are there. Okay, so that is how the business value will be generated. And it's a tough nut to crack. It's not easy to measure. The equation is not 1 plus 1 equals to 2. There always will be an equation which will emerge out of it is what we will see, right? So that's the business value or a business outcome, what we call it, right? The business value or the business outcome what we have as a part of the project what is there, right? A combination of tangible plus some intangible element what is there. Okay, so that's the combination piece, or that's the combination element what we have as a part of it. Okay, tangible plus some intangible element what we have as a part of it. So both are important. Both these elements are important what we need to understand. Okay, every project is there to drive in transformational changes. Okay, so what is this transformational changes? Okay, transformational changes are basically how do we make the project a better project, right? How do we basically drive in those changes which are there from an as is state? to a to be state what is there, right? How do we do that, right? So that is what is the importance of a project, or that is what is the transformational changes which are there, right? From an as is state to a to be state is what we need to understand, right? So we have tangible elements like a monetary asset, stock price, market share, as I said. And then we have intangible elements like goodwill, reputation, brand value, etc. So those are the value elements which are there, or those are the value pieces what are there. So every project, and many times what we see is basically we move from an as is state to a to be state, and this is a journey which we have to take. So like the classic example I give, 15, 20 years back when I used to check in hotel, I used to get a physical key for my room. So there's a physical key which I had to operate, and I had to use that. Now today when I go to a hotel and check in, I get a digital access key. I get a digital card or a digital access key, what is there. And maybe in future, you never know. You might get a QR code. You might get a QR code which will help you, right? So that is the one thing which could come out of it, right? So this is one thing which could come in as a part of this journey, what is there, right? Of the journey of transformational changes which are there, right? Or how do we bring about transformation across the project? So the same product again, similar to that bulb example, the same product or the same mechanism of entering your hotel room, but basically it is bringing about that those transformational changes which are there from an as is state to an intermediary state to a to be state what is there, right? So those are the elements, or those are the critical pointers what we need to understand from a transformation perspective what is there. Okay, so let us move ahead further. Yeah, one of the last slides before we close. So basically, every project has got phases to it. And the reason we divide a project into phases is to have a better management and control. Okay, and the collection of phases is called as a project life cycle. So when we talk about the word project life cycle, it's the collection of phases which are there. That is what is called as a project life cycle. The reason we have phases is to have better management and control, right? It is important to have these better management and control is why we have these phases. And at the end of each phase, we have a formal review, which is called as a toll gate review, what is there, right? So there's a formal review which happens, which is a toll gate review is what we have as a part of it, right? So that's the formal review what we have as a part of it. Okay, and it is also called as a kill point because a decision might be taken to basically close the project. You might take a call to kill the project or close the project, because if it is not serving the purpose, it makes no sense in continuing with this project, right? So at the end of every phase, there's a toll gate review or a kill point or a stage gate review, and phases are industry specific. Remember that. Phases are always going to be industry specific, and the number of phases depends on the performing organization. So what is the performing organization? The organization which is executing the project. That is what how you decide the number of phases. The number of phases which are there, it depends on the performing organization what is there. So those are the elements which are there. And of course, when we talk about project management, it's a combination. It's a combination of three dimensions. So as a project manager, you have to really balance your foot on these three pedals, just like you balance your foot in a normal car on three pedals, right? Accelerator, brake, and clutch. In an automatic car, I know you have only two pedals, but in a normal car, you have accelerator, brake, and clutch. And you have to literally balance your 2 feet on that, right? Between A, B, C, right? So similarly, here you have to balance it on the three pillars. Knowledge. Definitely, you need to have knowledge. Knowledge about the technology, knowledge about the domain in which you are executing a project, the business environment or the ecosystem around a project, right? What kind of a business environment it is, what are the challenges, what are the industry norms, industry standards around it. Then you need to possess certain skills. You need to possess planning skills, you need to possess estimation skills, communication skills. Very, very important, as I said, right? 90% of your skills have to be communication skills which are there. Okay, so basically planning skills, estimation skills, and communication skills. So those are the vital skills. And communication being 90% of the time a project manager spends in communication, as we said, right? More than 90% of your time. And then we also have tools and techniques. Some of the important tools and techniques include Microsoft Project, one of the very popularly used tools and techniques, critical path analysis, work breakdown structure, or WBS. So these are some of the important tools and techniques what we have, right? Some of the important elements or tools and techniques what we see as a part of it. Right. So typically managing a project involves identifying the project requirements, identifying and handling stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? Individuals and entities who are impacted by the success and failure of the project. So those are stakeholders. Then setting up, maintaining and carrying out communication activities which are there, right? And balancing the competing project constraints. What are project constraints? Constraints are limitations, as I said, which comes into the way of the project. It could be scope, quality, schedule, budget, resources, and risk. So those are nothing but the constraints which are there, or elements which come in the way of your project execution, which is there. Okay, so when you join for this program, what I have just now given you is just a small trailer of the movie. Okay, the real movie is a 35-hour movie. I've tried to compress that entire movie into a 1 hour movie. What is there, right? Around 45-50 minutes movie is what I would have spoken, right? Or I would have talked about it. So it's just a kind of a trailer which I wanted to share with you, which I wanted to give it to you. Okay, and I hope this gave you a glimpse into what this program will be all about. It will be a very, very exhaustive program. It will have exercises, it will have mock exams, it will have quizzes in between. And the objective is to make sure that each one of you becomes a PMP certified professional within a lesser period of time. And in fact, as I said, the target which I normally give is a 45 days target is what we normally work with, right? We say that, okay, you should be a PMP certified professional within 45 days, which are there. Okay, so I hope this gave you a good glimpse into what this program is all about. I would request you to reach out to the team and check about the upcoming classes and register for them so that you get benefited from it. But I'm keeping another 5 minutes. If you have any questions or any queries, you can type it in the chat window and I'll try to answer those questions. Meanwhile, I would request all of you to also put in the feedback form, right? How did you find this session? Kindly share the feedback around this session. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions which are there. Yeah, any other question? I'm just going through the session questions here. I hope Praveen, I answered your question. Yeah, Alexia, I also answered your question. I hope I answered your question, Alexia. Yeah. Any other question in case I've missed out? Any question or any query? Yeah, thanks for the feedback. Really appreciate it. I think people are sharing the feedback. So I would only say that if you're really keen to boost your career, if you really want to grow in your career, because as we know, right, PMP certified professionals basically earn more, right? As I was saying earlier, they earn more than basically what a normal professional would be earning, right? So that's what I would say here, right? That's what I would say as a part of it. Okay, what is the success rate? See, success rate is a very relative term, but our students have cracked the exam in first attempt itself. Okay, so that's what I would say. Okay, so they have cracked the exam in first attempt itself is what we say. See, okay. Any other question? Any other query? Any other question? So cost and all, you can check it out with the team. I would request you to check it out with the team. They will help you with the costs and all, how much the program costs and all. Which one? What is the question, Kapil? Can you please repeat the question, Kapil? I can't see the previous one. I think I already answered. What is the difference between a Scrum Master and a Project Manager? What was your question? If you can just type in again, because the charts are moving up. If you can just type in again, that would be great. I'll try to answer your question. I think I already answered. I already answered that question. Scrum Master versus Project Manager. Just 5 minutes back, I answered. A Scrum Master is more like a servant leader to the team, someone who's there to coach and mentor the team. A project manager is more like an authoritarian leader, and a scrum master works in an agile environment. A project manager works in a typical traditional environment. What is there? That is a fundamental difference between a scrum master role and a project manager. I hope the answer is now there with you. Okay. Any other question? Yeah, we are almost at the top of the hour. So if there are no further questions, I think we can close the session. So thanks a lot for investing your time into this session, and looking forward to see you in the PMP session. Thanks a lot, and have a great day or a evening ahead. And yeah, happy weekend to all of you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.